Hey, my name is Lainey Dionne, and I'm really excited to be doing this interview with you guys. Yeah, thanks for having me. So here we go. Okay, so I was into a lot of different activities as a kid. I was into like everything. But I put a lot of emphasis into sports. I loved playing soccer. I made state champs in track in middle school, and I swam a lot. I did like tons of stuff, tons of activities. I loved playing any like game with my friends. I had like a huge, wild imagination as a child, and I would like want to be like a wolf and like stuff and play around like you know, like how kids do. I really liked that movie, Snow Dogs. So as a child, like I did piano, but like I was way more into just running around and acting like an idiot. So as I grew a little bit older, I got into soccer and track and stuff, but I still did piano and Irish fiddle on the side. And then I was playing Manhunt with my friends in summer of 8th grade, and I broke my hip. And I say broke because I like dislocated it. It's a long story. I dislocated it and I chipped a little bit off the top. And that really put me out of commission for like any sports or any activities. So like the only thing that I could like do as a hobby to make me feel good and happy was music. And so I like had to really put my soul into it, and like I was really sad that I couldn't. I also danced. I did hip hop and Irish step dancing and I couldn't do those anymore either. So yeah, music kind of like saved my happiness. It was another outlet that I still had, that I still could do. So I ended up really falling in love with it, and I picked up the guitar and I picked up a whole slew of instruments, and I just really got into it. And then I started writing songs, and then I performed in high school, and I just remember being on stage, just like a memory I'll never ever forget. I remember being on stage at my talent show, and the whole crowd sang along with me. I thought like, I belong here. Like this is what I want to do for like the rest of my life. Like there's nothing else. And so then I went home and I made a PowerPoint presentation about how I wanted to do music for the rest of my life. And then I decided to go to college for music. I went to Berkeley, and then I graduated, and then I've had all these adventures since, and now I'm here. So let's see, next question. Okay, so this specific song, Hey London, how I came to writing it. So I was writing down song titles on my phone, just like random stuff, anything that like popped into my head. And I had just gone through a nasty breakup, and I knew I wanted to like have some titles that like had some like oomph, like some attitude, like some like cheeky, like I don't care about you, look at me now kind of titles. And I was just thinking like Avril Lavigne, like hey you, I don't like your girlfriend, I don't let you I don't like your girlfriend. I don't know why I just like, but so the hey you, I don't like your girlfriend. I liked the whole hey like that. So I was like, oh, like hey is cool. Like hey is like a boom in your face. Hey you, like I don't like what happened. Like that's what I wanted to write about. And so the breakup, before this nasty breakup, I spent a lot of time in England with a guy, and I was just thinking of like, wouldn't it be cool to like have a city title? Like, wouldn't it be cool to like incorporate different places in my music? I thought I spent a lot of time in England, and London is in England, And so I was like, Hey London. And I was like, that's kind of cool. Like, Hey London. Hey London is a cool name. Like, that seems cool. And I put it on my list of titles, and that was kind of it. And then I went on a little writing trip in Nashville, and they selected that title. And then we came to write the song. So, yeah. Let's see. Okay, so give me a second. So I don't really think about engaging or connecting with the audience when I'm writing a song. Like that's not my goal. I mean, like, yeah, I do want them to feel what I feel, and I do want to connect with people. But when I'm writing a song, I don't have that in my mind. Like, that sounds bad, but like, I think about like connecting how I feel with my instrument. So like, I'll be feeling a certain way and I'll pick chords, or I'll pick a lick, or I'll pick the harmony of what I want to do with my instrument first and get the feeling that I'm feeling to come out in the instrument. And then like, you know, like how am I feeling? What does that sound like? If I sound sad, then I'm gonna pick like a sad kind of instrumental. If I sound angry, I'm gonna kind of pick like a punchy instrumental. If I sound cheeky, I'm gonna pick an instrumental kind of like Hey London. So after I pick what I want the song to sound, like have the atmosphere of, I sing in like a language that no one's ever heard of before. It's not a language. So like, I'll just like be playing. I'll be like, and like, I'll just do that all the time. So like, for like something like Hey London, it might just be like, and like that's not words, but like that's kind of how like I come about, and then those turn into words, those turn into my feelings. So like, I'll sing in my own little language, and then I will, you know, like write down stuff that like is just speaking to me. Sometimes it comes out in my own little language. Sometimes I'll say a word, or I'll say a phrase, and then I'll put the rest of it around it. But yeah, then it just turns into a song. Boom, done. I just feel like if you're like creating something that you personally connect with, like it is you, like that is how you're feeling, like this is you, I feel like other people are just gonna gravitate to that and also feel the same way. Because if you're creating something that's like kind of fake to you, or like you don't really resonate with, or you're just writing just to write, like I feel like that's, I mean, it can work, but most of the time it probably doesn't. Because like, if you're not believing in it, how can you expect other people to believe in it? So with Hey London, like, I don't know, we just all sat in a room, and like, we didn't really think, we just kind of just wrote, and it just, boom. That's just kind of how I am with all of my songs. Where to start? So I got linked up with Nick Schwartz, who's an incredible producer. And him and I were sitting upstairs in his little like lounge room / studio in his house. And we were getting to know each other, and it was like the first day of my co-writing trip in Nashville. And so him and I were strangers, and him and the next co-writer that were gonna come in, I was strangers with him. Nick knew who he was. And so it ended up being Gabe Simon, who has written for Dua Lipa. He's like an incredible writer. He's got a whole bunch of crazy artists underneath his belt. I gave both them a list of concepts and song titles, and they like really resonated with Hey London. They're like, that's a cool title, let's do that. And Gabe had already been to London before, so we already talked about like the landmarks that we wanted to include in the song, and I told him about my breakups. And yeah, it was just, it kind of like just happened to like, it was such a good mesh of creativity. Like the song was just born kind of almost instantly. Like we wrote and recorded, like did the whole writing, whole track, singing, the whole shebang. We did all of it within 4 hours. So it was just like a really, I don't even think it really took that long, to be honest. We set a 4-hour slot, but I think it probably only took us like 3 maybe. It was like a really, really, really great experience. I can't say enough good things about the both of them. They're super talented. The first thing that we had for this specific song was Gabe's guitar line, which he recorded in a closet. We recorded the whole thing in the closet in the little living room. So he had that, and then the next thing that you hear in the song are these like, oh, 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 and those are like throughout the whole song, and that's Nick just doing that into like a talk mic and then like pitching it up and manipulating it. So a lot of it was just like kind of like random things that we came up with on the spot. I wanted the song to have like a boom clap vibe. Like I wanted it to be like punchy, kind of like in your face, like also feel good. Like it's a song about like a breakup and like learning your own worth and not letting anybody like make you feel lesser than. Like if they're gonna do that, like goodbye. Like, you know, so the songs like it's a feel good song about a not feel good situation. So I wanted it to have this cool, like punchy vibe. I don't know. I just wanted to sound kind of like boom clap. And so like the gang vocals that you hear in like the chorus to give it that huge kind of sound, that's just me and Nick in Nick's hallway. We're just yelling into the mic, "Hey London." So yeah, it was a really fun experience. It was really cool. Yeah. And the final touches to the track, me and Nick did like a couple months later. And then ba-bam, "Hey London" for you. It's on all streaming platforms worldwide as you hear it now. Okay, so I started out as like this folk pop singer, kind of like Ingrid Michaelson meets like the Lumineers. And back then I opened for like The Head and the Heart when they were on tour, and they came for a stop here in the my home state of Rhode Island. And at that time I also opened up for country singer Chase Rice, and I opened up for actor Ronnie Cox. And those are like really, really cool experiences. And then I've also been nominated and have won several different awards for my songwriting in that genre since like 2015. And then in 2017, I got to tour the East Coast with my band, and we played New York City, and we went all the way up to Vermont, and yeah, and I've even played in Europe, which is cool. But then like I had this whole not change of heart, just like I grew into something that I didn't know I was capable of. I grew into this kind of like alt pop, indie pop artist. I listened to a lot of that stuff, and I really love all of that stuff. And I was like, I can't do that. And I was like, actually I can. And I went for it, and I started co-writing with all these amazing people like Gabe Simon for Hey London, and also Jordy Searcy and Jess Cates and Ethan Hulse. And all of those songs are going to be released sometime in the very near future, and I'm very excited for that. But yeah, so I started co-writing with these amazing people, and then I landed a show for my I opened for my childhood crush, Drake Bell from Drake and Josh on Nickelodeon, which was really, really, really cool. I played all of my new songs that I wrote with all of those co-writers, and it was a really crazy experience. I've gotten to play at like some of Rhode Island's biggest venues, like the Strand, which was Lupo's, the Met and Bull Point. And I don't know, I'm very proud of everything I've accomplished so far, but I am so excited about the new stuff in the future. COVID, Corona. So it's been hard. It's been really hard. All I do is music. That's how I make a living. So I've had like over 30 gigs cancel on me. And that's really, really tough. That's really tough to deal with. But the most important thing is to stay safe. The most important thing is to stay safe. And yeah, I've had a lot of health issues in the past that are related to these songs. So it very, very, very much affected me, and safety's completely like the only important thing. So like I understand why things have to be canceled, but in the meantime, that gives me a lot of time to focus on my music and to start writing new music and to do live streams. I do live streams every week, and it's really actually kind of more fun because I can see what people are thinking in real time. Whereas when you're on a show, you're just alone on stage, or you're with your band on stage, and that's just it. You don't know what people are thinking. But people can comment in real time what they're thinking of you and what they want to hear from you. And it feels, even though it's through a screen, it almost feels more intimate because you get a real time look into what people are looking at you, you know? It's cool. I like it. Okay, so the industry is constantly changing, like constantly changing. Like it is so hard to keep up with everything that's new and coming out, and what are the stats on this and what are the stats on that, and there's whole new ways of marketing that are happening. And I've just realized that a lot of what goes on in the industry is kind of unfair. And you have to sacrifice a lot just to be heard. And I can't tell if it was like harder back then to get heard or harder now, because back then it was all word of mouth. Like you had to have a pretty big following to get a meeting with somebody, I think, or someone had to hear you at a club. It was all people had to like go out and see you. And now people don't have to go out and see you. They could just hear you on any of these streaming services. So it's like almost oversaturated. So how do you get heard throughout all of these voices that are on these platforms, you know? So yeah, music's more accessible now, but like there's so much out there that how are you going to poke through everything that's out there, you know? And I think they're both hard. I think the music industry is hard in general. Like there's no easy way in. But I'd like to say that like, I hope we keep moving in a better direction. Like artists keep fighting, like Taylor Swift, like artists keep fighting for equality and more fairness in the industry. And I think that's great. With the pandemic that's going on, a lot of artists have lost significantly financially. But at the same time, because there's kind of a lull where nobody can do anything, I say nobody can do anything as in like nobody's going outside and going to breakfast or going to baseball games, or people are just kind of staying at home right now. And because of that, a lot of people are becoming aware of a lot of things that are going on in the world right now. And artists are using their platform. They can't use their shows. They can't go out and speak to crowds, but they're using their social media platforms right now, which everybody's on because there's nothing else to do, to speak up about social reform and tons of justice issues that are happening right now. And I think that's amazing. And I hope that more artists continue to use their platform to help people and speak up against injustice. And I think that what's happening right now with artists has less to do with the pandemic, other than the financial loss, and more to do with all the social issues that you see going on and social justice. And what I'm trying to say is I don't think the pandemic is going to change anything in the industry other than somehow artists are going to have to recoup their losses financially. But I do think that the pandemic is making a lot of more people go on social media because there's nothing else to do. And a lot more people are seeing injustices that are going on in the world. They're seeing video, they're seeing evidence, and they're paying attention to it because, I mean, they should, but I think this all happening during a pandemic, I think is very eye-opening. And I'm glad that artists are sticking up for people and using their platforms for good. I'm glad that we're using our platforms to help change the world. I've been asked this a lot and I really can't answer it, which is weird. I wouldn't say like an artist is my musical influence. I would say like throughout my life I've listened to Coldplay and Radiohead. We all know that. But I would say I'm more inspired and influenced by random songs that come up on my Discover Weekly on Spotify. And if I could mesh all of these random songs by different people into one artist, that would be my influence. Like random one songs by a whole bunch of different people that you've probably never heard of, and just put it together, that would be my muse. That would be it.